Hello, welcome to the channel. Hot topics today. So ElysiaJS, Bun and SQLite. Those are technologies that we're going to use today, and we're going to build a simple REST API. This video is supposed to be like a step-by-step tutorial, so I won't skip any steps, so you can follow along. If you're interested in the final result, I'll publish everything that we get as a result of this video as a Git repo in GitHub, and the link should be in the description of the video, so check it out. Without further ado, let's jump into our terminal and we will start. So I created this project, Learn Bun. It's supposed to be a mono repo for all these examples, and we're going to create a subfolder here for our today's REST API. So to get started, you need Bun, and for those who are not familiar with Bun, you can think about that as a replacement of Node, so JavaScript / TypeScript on the server. The main feature is that it's fast, and also it combines things like package manager, so you don't need like npx and all that stuff, and you can run tests with that tool as well. But mostly it has nice API, it's fast, so whatever we need. If you're on Mac, you probably can just use brew, something like brew install Bun, and that should be fine for you to get started. Also, like for different platforms like Linux or Mac or Windows, you can use getting started of Bun and see the installation instructions. I'm using RTX plugin, like version manager, so I have a file called tool versions here where I have Bun latest defined, and I can just run RTX install, and I have everything installed already, but if there is a new version of that, it will download and install Bun. So to validate that, let's run Bun version, and this is most recent version today. All right, so for Elysia is, if you're familiar with something like Express from Node, that's similar idea. It's supposed to work on Bun, it's fast, it has nice API, so yeah, that's what we need. To create a project, we can run command bun create, and then you say Elysia and then the name of the project, so it will be called Elysia REST API. Let's run this thing. It takes a couple seconds. So now we can see the folder and we can go inside. This is a REST API. So I'm going to use IDEA for that. I know a lot of JavaScript people using VS Code, but as my main language is JVM based, I'm used to IntelliJ, and we're going to use it today as well. All right, so we have our project, and the main thing is here. It's like just 7 lines of code. We have our application from Elysia, and then we can define routes on that. And as you can see here, we have our server started on port 3000. I think I need to make this a bit bigger, so this should be fine, probably. All right. So what's next? We can go back to our terminal and we can run bun dev, and it will start and watch the file on this port. And if we go to our browser now, we should see our fancy handler, the root handler for Elysia application. Let's create some routes that we will need. So let's say we're going to build a REST API for users. So we will have like users to list the users. And let's say for now something simple like list users handler. And then we want get users, and then we will have ID here, so it will be a handler for getting information for a single user. Then we define our handler here. Come on. Yeah, single user handler, right? And finally, we want post request to create a user. So it will be post to /users. Our handler, same dummy thing for now. Create user handler. All right, so this should be auto-reloaded for us. So if we now go to users, it will execute a GET request to list of the users. So we see this message now here. Yeah, as I'm using IntelliJ, there is a cool feature that you can avoid using Postman or similar tools, or just executing your request in browser. So for example, we'll need to create post requests and we want to run them. So you need a tool, something like Postman, where you can define your request. But in ultimate version of IntelliJ, you can create a file with HTTP requests. So let's say we name it test or something like that. And we add here. And after that, you can just create GET request. We want port 3000, and then we have our users here. And you click here and you see that it executed it, and we see the same result here. So we're going to use this tool to test all our requests. So let's add a couple more. So we want users. Let's copy this thing. So we will need user /ID, so like ID1. If we execute this, we have the response from a single user, right? The next thing is we want, not a GET, but a post request with body. So it will be 3000 and users. So it will be a post request now. We can add fields here. We'll create a table in a sec, but it will be something like first name. Let's say Andre, my name, last name. If email, sorry, not my real email, but something like myemail.com, and then about making videos on YouTube. Right, so let's execute this thing, and you see we have a response from our post handler. Right, that's cool. And also, as you can see, this file is actually just like plain text. So you can add this under source control in Git. You can share it with your team. So it's a pretty nice way to share like your test collections for your API. If you are using Postman, there's like a similar concept of collections, test collections, but it's pretty cool that you don't have to use two tools. You can just stick to IntelliJ and use it from here. All right, so the next thing is let's go to our let's open the terminal here, and what we want to do is to add a couple dependencies. So it will be bun install, and I'm going to use Faker to generate some test data, and also bun install SQLite. I need my cheat sheet for that. I'm going to use this library, bun add SQLite migrations. Yeah, right. So what we can do next is if we create a folder in the root, let's say create new directory, let's call it migrations. And after that, we want a new file here, new file. And yeah, I have a name saved here. So after that, you can just add your migrations. It's super simple, but we don't need to write any code for the migration in that case. And this will be our table. So we can put it right here. So we're creating table users, and the fields are user ID with a primary key constraint, and it will be an auto increment integer. Then we have first, last name, email, about, and created at. Default for created as is current timestamp, so we don't need to provide it from our code. All fields are required, like not null. We also check that email is unique by adding a unique constraint, and the field about is just text. It could be nullable. So that's our table. And after that, let's go to our index.ts and create things that relates to database. So we want a const db, something like that, and then you can say new database. And here, I think you provide a name for your SQLite database. So let's name it as our project. It will be Elysia REST API.db. Something like that. And after that, you want to run your migrations. And to do that, we will use this function, migrate. It is from Bun migrations. So you want to add an import like this, right? So yeah, let's see if we need to restart our server or not. Like, yeah, I'm just going to restart that just in case. And now in IntelliJ, we can use the feature to add a data source. So we want a new data source type SQLite, so we can see what we have in our database. So the name is the same, so you just say Elysia REST API.db test connection, right? That's it. And if we refresh this thing, go to main, we see tables, and we see now our users because the migration was already executed. That's good. So far we have our database creation right here in our index.ts file. So probably we want to do something different. Let's say if we go to, if we create a new file called db.ts, add it here, and we can now move our thing from here, right here. So let's say this, and these db, let's call it actually, let's create a new thing. So we want a const and something like create db. It will be a function now. And we want to move our code right here, and we want to return db now. So let's also log something, console.log, creating database. Right. The reason for that you'll see in a sec. So if we're doing it here, it will have like a global state right here. But a cool feature from Elysia is that you can do a decorate thing, and then you say db and create db like this. Can I import that? Oh, wait, so I need to export, probably. Export, create db. Now I can import it here. So the idea of this line is that our handlers will receive as an input the context. So I can say, for example, context here. And if you do a decorate, it will add this key inside your context. So your handlers will always have database as a dependency, passed as part of the context. So you don't need to use like a global database from somewhere. And also it makes your handlers like more pure functions. So that means that everything they need goes from the input params. You don't rely on any global state. So you're making the refactoring, the further refactoring, much easier if you just rely on the context. So the idea is that you can now, for example, which will be the most simple one to implement? Probably by ID, right? So here, this will be context by default, but you can just destructure it right here. So you can say DB, and you know it's you see it's already understands that it will be a database type from the type of this thing here. That's good. And now let's create something here, like a body of a function, and we still do like our return of a simple string, like this. But now we have database here, and we can create query. So we want select star from users, and where user ID equals, and this is API of Bun SQLite library. So you say something like user ID here, and then you chain it with get, and in get you pass your params like this, and the key should be user ID, and the value will be whatever, something, let's say 1 for now. But actually you can just destructure it from the context as well. So the other key that will be available will be called params, and you see it's already like ID and it's string by default because we haven't specified any schemas. So, but we still can do something like params.id. It's fine. If you want to make this integer, what we can do is, as the last argument in this handler function, we can specify a schema. And I need my cheat sheet for that. So yeah, let's grab this thing. And so here we say params, and the params should be an object, and this object should contain ID, and we define the type. So after we define this hook here, Elysia should know how to pass our params, and it knows that this ID we expect it to be a string. So it will try to pass number from a string, and this will go to the handler only if that is successful. So yeah, the T comes from Elysia as well. So now everything is happy, and you should see now that this ID type is changed to a number right here, right? So now this is like an integer, what we expect. All right, cool. And yeah, so this get will return our user, all fields from that. So really what we want is just to return the result of the query, like this. And just to see that we're still executing the correct handlers, let's just log something for debug purposes. Let's say getting user by ID. And actually we can do something like const user ID, and let's say we getting it from params.id, and after that here let's change this thing to backticks so we can use the template thing, and we can do what's that, like a user ID like this, I believe. And here we just can use the same field, user ID. All right. And let's reformat the code a bit. I'm not adding pre-tier for the demo, but really you want to use some auto tool for reformatting as well. All right, so we should now have this handler working. We can go to our test for the HTTP requests, and we can execute this one. Couldn't connect to localhost. All right. Is it because we stopped and haven't started our Leisure? See once again. Yeah, but response body is empty. So yeah, because like we don't have any users in our database, but it's not complaining at the same time, so that's fine. And also we got our log from the handler, which is what we expect. All right, so let's move next. And actually, I want to implement one more API endpoint here, just for simplification. We'll call it seed, and we'll basically seed our DB with some test data if we want. So like this. And what we want to do is, let's return that just a simple string that like done or something like that. And we can say console.log seeding database with test data. And what we want to do is for let's say we want like 100 users or something. And then we want basically to insert 100 random users to the database table. So what we want to do is we can do const insert user query or something like that. And then we can do prepare statement, prepare, and it will be insert into users. It will be easier if I just get the prepared query for that. So let's do this. All right, so what we have, insert into users, and then fields, first name, last name, email, and about, and the values. And we use this named things that we can pass as our query param. And actually we can reuse this thing, I believe. So we can move it before let. So insert user query. And what we can do here is just use this prepared statement and say run. And we want to provide our params. So it will be this list. So to pass the params, you can just do this, and then we want to generate some random things for those fields. So first name will be, and actually here we will use faker, so it will be person dot first name. We can import our dependencies. So you see now we have import faker from faker.js. For the first name, we have here this thing. For last name, we'll use the separate function, get last name. For email, if you don't know, it's a bit hard to find, but it's actually in the internet, and then email. And for about, I'm just going to use lorem text. So yeah, looks good to me. It's fine. And now if we go to our HTTP requests, we can add a new one. I don't remember which I set it to be. Index. So it's get. Let's set it to post. It's more like automatic to use post for something that's supposed to change the state. And here we can create a new post request. Actually, no params. So yeah, I used the wrong option. So let's do text body, right? Body will be empty anyway. So let's say port 3000 and /seed. Let's run this thing. It says done, which is nice. And now if we go to our users table and we open a console, we can try to use select from users. And yeah, we see some users here. And we should have a user with ID 1 now. So that means if we go back here and we execute this request to get the user by ID, we should have the correct response. And yeah, you see it here, right? This is the response of our endpoint. If you don't trust this tool, we can test it with a browser call as well. I just need to open the browser. So it's users/1. And you can see we have our JSON back. Network, refresh, and here we go. Our request to the API. Cool. What's next? The list and post, right? That's what's on the table. Let's go back. Let's implement a list of the users first. So here, same idea, really. We want to wrap that and create a body. So again, we destructure database from the context. We do db select. What's going on? db dot query select the star from users ordered by created at, let's say, and limit just to make it a bit more interesting. So this limit we'll expect to be passed from the request. And now, instead of putting it here like this, we now want it to be a query param, not the path param. So for that, we can do query here, an extra thing that we can destructure from the context. And when we execute the query, we want now all, and in all we want to pass our limit to be query dot limit, and we'll fix types in a sec. So really we just want to return everything that we got from the query. And again, let's add console.log so we know that we executing correct thing. So this will be getting the list of users, and we can put our limit with limit, let's say, put it here, and let's do const limit to be query dot limit, so we can use it here as well as here, right? Yep, that's fine. Again, to fix the types and to add checking. So we want now, I think it will be just query, query, right? and it should be same thing basically. But now this should be limit. And this instance now the limit is Elysia understand that limit is number now. All right. Let's give it a go. So we're going here, and now we want to pass the query param limit. Let's say 10, and let's run this thing. Yeah, so we have a bunch of users returned, probably 10 users, yeah. If we do 2, let's see if that works. Yeah, we now have 2 users as the response. Pretty good. So the final thing for today is to implement the post request, and probably the most interesting thing, but we have some code already ready for that. So let's go to our insert query seed function, and we will literally need the same query. Just for simplicity, I'm going to copy paste, but obviously you can extract that into a separate function and reuse it. So now we want to implement it right here. We want to return something, let's say null for now, and we put our query right here, insert query, db, again destructuring from the context, and we will need body as well. So in case of post request, we'll get our input from the request body. That's all right. Insert query, yeah, and actually we can just use it in one line, so we can do maybe not. Yeah, let's keep it simple. So what we want is our insert query, and then we do get. Get just because we want this returning statement to return our inserted user. So we'll see the ID, auto-generated ID, and auto-generated created at. So we call get, and here we want same fields, but they will come from the values will come from body. So let's do this, and we're basically going to do body dot first name, yeah, like this. Yeah, it has a known type of now, but we'll fix it with the schema in a sec. So it will be last name, email will be body dot email, and then about will be body dot about, and that's fine. And again, we can specify the schema here. Just to save a bit of time, I'll just copy paste the prepared example, so it will be this. So what we have here, oh wait a sec, I think I copy pasted the wrong. Okay, so we want to put it right here. It's not happy because types are not matching, specifically for this about field, because I marked it as an optional. But as a quick fix, we can just do something like that, probably. Right, let's make it a bit more pretty, and we can test that it works. So let's go here, and we're going to execute this function. Right, and we have something back. So we had 100 users, now we have 101. We have correct data, we have created that, and we have all the data passed, inserted into database. So we can check that we can get it from database as well. So it will be where user ID equals 101. Let's run this. you see it's working fine. If we, for example, execute it once again, we'll get the constraint failed because the email is not unique. If we make it unique, it's working again and we're getting the new user. So yeah, I'm not going to implement the put to update the entry, but this will be a combination of post and get by ID. So it will be put something and then user/ID, but you'll get the body with updated values. And I'll keep that as an exercises for you guys if you want to practice this thing. If you want, raise a pull request. I'm happy to merge it into the example repo that I shared in the description of the video. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed and it was useful. Subscribe to the channel, leave comments, and don't forget to like the video. And also there is a donation page on Buy Me a Coffee if you want to support my work by sending me a bit of donation to buy a coffee. That's it. Thanks a lot. See you next video. Bye bye.